The Masai Mara, a timeless ocean of grass, enduring the relentless grip of the dry season. As surface water steadily disappears, edible vegetation declines with alarming speed. Every creature across these plains survives close to the edge of its physiological limits. Energy is carefully conserved. Every movement is deliberate. The long endurance test begins. Spread across the sun-scorched landscape, immense herds of herbivores exist in a delicate equilibrium. They serve as the ecosystem's primary grazers, extracting scarce nutrients from dry, weathered grasses. Digesting this fibrous diet demands an advanced fermentation system. Every step is carefully measured to maximize nutrient absorption while reducing precious moisture loss beneath the relentless heat. Out in the exposed grasslands, the African rock python trusts its disruptive camouflage. Built as a powerful ambush predator, it avoids wasting energy on pursuit. Heat-sensitive pits lining its jaws detect the infrared signatures of warm-blooded animals, allowing it to interpret the landscape through temperature alone. Nearby, the savanna's dominant predators rely on an entirely different survival strategy. The lion pride enters prolonged physiological rest, remaining inactive for nearly 20 hours each day to avoid dangerous overheating. But regulating body temperature steadily drains internal water reserves. Inevitably, the pride must seek the ecosystem's remaining water sources to restore vital hydration. For cold-blooded predators, the water offers both thermal stability and perfect concealment. The African rock python submerges almost completely, masking its scent while exposing only its infrared-sensitive pits. Guided by the gentle movement of the water, the python glides silently forward without disturbing the surface. Focused entirely on drinking, the lioness loses awareness of everything beyond the river. The reptilian predator slips into lethal range without detection. Its heat-sensing organs lock precisely onto the lioness's body temperature. After judging the size of its target, the python contracts its immense muscles, storing explosive force for the strike. The attack comes without warning. The python erupts from the water, using explosive momentum to wrap the lioness's torso in thick, muscular coils before she can react. Every breath the lioness releases tightens the constriction further. Unable to escape, the lioness activates one final survival response. Deep, low-frequency distress calls echo across the savanna, summoning the rest of the pride. The python refuses to loosen its grip. Specialized sensory scales monitor every weakening heartbeat, measuring the lioness's gradual descent toward collapse. The emergency call instantly mobilizes the pride. Reaching the riverbank, the lions launch a unified counterattack. Their immense bite force targets the python's spine, disrupting the powerful contractions that sustain its deadly hold. Facing the overwhelming strength of the entire pride, the python risks catastrophic spinal injury. The biological cost of continuing the attack becomes too great. Instinct favors survival over conquest. The giant snake abandons its prey, releasing the lioness before retreating into the water. The deadly constriction finally ends. She survives because of the savanna's greatest evolutionary advantage, the unwavering unity of the lion pride. As golden evening light spreads across the plains, calm gradually returns. Beneath the soft glow of twilight, the pride begins quietly grooming one another. Physical contact releases calming endorphins, strengthening the social bonds that hold the pride together as a single, inseparable family. The cubs nurse eagerly, drawing nutrient-rich milk packed with concentrated lipids essential for the rapid development of their growing brains. As the planet gradually leans back toward the sun, a delicate ceasefire unfolds beneath a wash of golden light. The bitter cold lingering from the night slowly retreats, allowing the entire ecosystem to awaken as warmth steadily returns across the landscape. Life is already stirring. Yet within the soft glow of dawn, limited visibility makes appearances dangerously misleading. To survive, every species depends upon an ancient chemical sensing system, interpreting the faint molecular traces drifting through the crisp morning air. Everything appears calm and undisturbed, but across the savannah, tranquility is often nothing more than a carefully disguised illusion. Even while awake, remaining close within the mother's protective reach keeps the cubs in a parasympathetic resting state. Their heart rates remain low, conserving precious metabolic energy before activity begins. Even beneath the relentless African sun, the riverbank forms its own localized microclimate. Moist soil and cool shade provide a vital thermal refuge from the punishing solar radiation blanketing the open plains. The adult lioness remains in a classic energy-saving state. By suppressing her basal metabolic activity during the hottest hours, she preserves valuable adenosine triphosphate, the chemical fuel essential for explosive anaerobic pursuits. Through playful wrestling, the cubs refine bite inhibition while learning to control balance and body positioning. But every drink carries significant danger. As the lioness lowers her head toward the water, her field of peripheral vision narrows dramatically, forcing her to exchange situational awareness for hydration. While the young cub rapidly burns through its anaerobic energy reserves, struggling against the river's current. The apex reptile advances without leaving even the slightest surface disturbance, a flawless display of hydrostatic stealth. Driven by powerful sweeps of its muscular tail, the crocodile silently closes the distance. Within an instant, the lioness reacts. The exhausted cub remains trapped inside the predator's strike zone, only milliseconds from catastrophic injury. With explosive force, the cub is ripped clear of the deadly waters, revealing the overwhelming biological instinct to protect valuable genetic offspring at all costs. As they burst through the river's surface, buoyancy instantly gives way to the crushing pull of gravity. The lioness drags her waterlogged cub onto the muddy bank, overcoming the heavy resistance of saturated ground. The immediate threat fades with the flowing river. Gently, the lioness guides her drenched cub into the shelter of the tall, sun-warmed grass. Soon, the rest of the litter gathers around them. Shared warmth and familiar scent reinforce their family bond, surrounding the young cubs with an invisible sense of complete security. Far beyond the cool refuge of the riverbank, the endless savanna shimmers beneath the blazing equatorial sun. Here, the balance of heat transforms once again. Waves of rising air bend the horizon, producing shimmering mirages that disguise the relentless struggle for survival unfolding below. For countless other inhabitants, there is no opportunity to rest. As daylight intensifies, the pride shifts into a period of physiological recovery. The cubs nurse eagerly, drawing nutrient-rich milk packed with concentrated lipids essential for the rapid development of their growing brains. Yet this extraordinary maternal investment comes at a tremendous biological price. Every mouthful transferred to the cubs drains the lioness further toward a dangerous energy deficit. Nature now demands an unforgiving decision. To keep her family alive, the lioness must temporarily leave them behind. She conceals the litter within dense vegetation, trusting their instinctive stillness and naturally camouflaged coats to keep them hidden from wandering daytime predators. Setting aside the role of devoted mother, her body seamlessly transitions into that of a professional hunter. The brief moment of peace has ended. The relentless pursuit of calories begins once more. The lioness performs a meticulous visual survey. She is not simply watching the herd ahead, she is analyzing an ever-changing pattern of movement, posture, and biomechanics, searching for the weakest opportunity. Her forward-facing eyes initially isolate one potential target. Ahead, a clan of spotted hyenas tears into the freshly killed wildebeest. Their immensely powerful jaws generate crushing pressure, splintering solid bone with ease to reach the nutrient-rich marrow hidden inside. From a distance, the lioness studies the scene, carefully weighing the odds. Stealing a carcass from an organized hyena clan, a strategy known as kleptoparasitism, eliminates the tremendous energy cost of a hunt. But confronting multiple agitated hyenas carries a very real risk of devastating injury. But the immense caloric reward outweighs the danger. The lioness explodes into a full-speed charge, scattering the feeding hyenas in a violent rush toward the prize. She crashes through their defensive line, using her tremendous momentum to force the first wave of hyenas into retreat. But spotted hyenas are masters of coordinated harassment. Within seconds, the clan reorganizes, spreading outward to surround the lioness while targeting her vulnerable hindquarters in an attempt to sever critical tendons. A dangerous tactical standoff unfolds. As the hyenas finally withdraw, the exhausted lioness claims possession of the wildebeest carcass. The proteins and energy-rich lipids contained within this meal will ultimately sustain her hidden cubs. Panting heavily to release excess body heat, The lioness pauses beside her prize. The proteins and energy-rich lipids contained within this meal will ultimately sustain her hidden cubs. Clamping her jaws firmly around the carcass's neck, she relies on immense shoulder and neck strength to drag the enormous weight. Pulling prey heavier than herself across rough savanna terrain demands extraordinary anaerobic endurance. Back at the den, the cubs' digestive systems continue their transition toward a fully carnivorous diet. Alongside their mother's rich milk, they begin consuming soft, iron-rich organ meat that their growing bodies can digest efficiently. Their specialized carnassial teeth slice effortlessly through dense muscle tissue. Within this unforgiving ecosystem, securing such a calorie-rich carcass guarantees the family's survival for several more precious days. As Earth's rotation gradually carries the sun beyond the horizon, Rayleigh scattering bathes the savanna in deep shades of crimson and amber. The intense heat accumulated throughout the day steadily radiates into the cooling evening air. For the lioness, approaching twilight marks the beginning of her greatest advantage. Hidden behind each retina, the tapetum lucidum reflects every remaining photon, dramatically enhancing her vision for the coming night. Dawn spread slowly across the African savanna, a landscape shaped by millions of years of evolution, where every sunrise begins another silent struggle for survival. During the dry season, every living creature must carefully balance energy, food, and water. Here, even the smallest mistake can become fatal. Across the open plains, herds of grazing animals begin their daily migration. They are not wandering aimlessly. Generation after generation, These animals have followed ancient routes that lead toward fresh grass, scattered shade, and precious water sources. The cool morning hours also allow them to feed, before the intense African sun quickly dries the remaining moisture from the land. Nearby, beneath scattered acacia trees, the rulers of this ecosystem remain perfectly still. Lions spend as much as 20 hours each day resting, conserving energy for the explosive bursts of speed required during a hunt. Unlike endurance predators, every calorie they save now increases their chances of success later. Not far away, a rhinoceros mother grazes peacefully beside her calf. Although she weighs more than 2 tons, she never truly relaxes. Young rhinos remain vulnerable to predators, and their survival depends entirely upon the protection and experience of their mother. The Serengeti. a fiercely competitive ecosystem where survival is ruled by an unforgiving trophic hierarchy. This relentless biological conflict fuels an ever-intensifying evolutionary arms race. Every adaptation developed by prey is relentlessly challenged by the deadly precision of apex predators. Whenever trophic levels intersect, the outcome is determined entirely by biomechanics and raw physical power. Here, the privilege of survival is decided within mere fractions of a second. Beneath the endless equatorial sky, the savanna functions as an immense solar-driven thermodynamic system. Here, specialized grasses efficiently transform sunlight into dense stores of caloric biomass, creating an illusion of peaceful stability. Moving across this sunlit expanse, enormous biological communities of primary consumers graze in calm, synchronized harmony. Their steady migrations drive critical nutrient cycling, preserving the ecosystem that supports every living creature. Yet this peaceful balance remains remarkably fragile. As countless heads lower to harvest precious calories, collective awareness inevitably declines. They rest in deceptive security, completely unaware that shimmering heat waves and distorted acoustics provide the exact conditions a predator needs to remain invisible. Concealed within the tall grasses, a coalition of cheetahs practices strict metabolic conservation. This period of inactivity is a physiological requirement, safeguarding valuable ATP reserves within their fast-twitch muscle fibers. Within moments, those stored reserves will ignite, transforming silent observation into an explosive high-speed pursuit. For the female antelope, hormonal cascades trigger powerful uterine contractions, initiating the intricate physiological process of birth. Keeping its body low to exploit subtle terrain contours, the cheetah studies its target. It weighs the mother's escape response against the newborn's complete lack of mobility, waiting patiently for the perfect attack angle. The amniotic membrane must rupture, allowing the essential transition from placental oxygen exchange to independent pulmonary respiration. The approach demands flawless biomechanical precision. The cheetah advances using controlled digitigrade locomotion, cushioning every step with specialized footpads to eliminate unwanted sound. The predator's calculations are complete. The release of kinetic energy is only moments away. The kinetic sequence explodes into motion. Reaching the highest level of terrestrial speed, the cheetah's remarkably flexible spine compresses and recoils like a living spring, propelling it more than 7 meters in one seamless leap. Driven almost entirely by anaerobic metabolism, the cheetah is racing against the limitations of its own physiology. The herd's sensory network instantly collapses. A powerful cortisol surge triggers an immediate escape response. The once peaceful grazing assembly erupts into a chaotic torrent of unpredictable, high-speed movement. But the mathematics of the savanna remains brutally practical. To preserve the future of the herd's genetics, the faster individuals inevitably leave the slower behind. The mother and her newborn remain dangerously exposed, an unavoidable ecological sacrifice. Still wrapped inside the amniotic membrane, the newborn is biologically immobilized, a stationary target completely incapable of escape. The cheetah attacks, a perfect demonstration of predatory geometry, exploiting the greatest vulnerability nature can produce. Yet the ecology of the savanna rarely follows a straight line. An olive baboon suddenly interrupts the encounter. Motivated not by compassion between species, but by territorial aggression, the dominant primate deliberately disrupts the predator's concentration. This is not an act of empathy, but calculated predator harassment. Viewing the cheetah as a threat to its own troop, the primate brandishes its 2-inch canines to aggressively force the feline away from its territory. Designed solely for unmatched speed, the cheetah possesses
Guided by primal instinct,
delicate
the
body.
newborn takes its first wobbly steps. It drinks the colostrum, a
optimal
biological
foraging
liquid
theory,
gold packed with
confronting a
maternal
baboon
antibodies,
presents
gifting
an
its fragile
unacceptable
immune system the
probability of
ultimate
injury.
armor for the life ahead. As the golden hour bathes the plains, the relentless heat of the savannah surrenders to dusk. Nature declares a quiet, fleeting truce. For today, the fragile pulse of life has triumphed. Under the fading light, they are safe.
Nature never wastes an opportunity. Every season, every sunrise, and every drop of water becomes part of an ancient system that has shaped life for millions of years. Hidden between towering cliffs, the Chulishman River Valley appears peaceful from above. But to a wildlife biologist, this valley tells a very different story. It is a living laboratory where every animal is constantly making decisions that determine one simple outcome: survival. Summer has arrived, bringing only a brief window of abundance. For a few short months, plants flourish, insects multiply, and fresh vegetation spreads across the valley floor. Scientists describe this period as the season of maximum biological productivity. During this time, animals must consume enough energy to prepare for the much harsher months ahead. Every successful meal today increases the chances of surviving tomorrow. In this harsh environment, wasting energy can be just as dangerous as facing a predator. In a desperate biomechanical reflex, the juvenile exploits the canine's anatomical limitation, a lack of arboreal adaptation. Giving birth is one of the most demanding moments in a tigress's life. Every contraction drains her strength, leaving her temporarily vulnerable in a wilderness. Then, the silence is broken by the soft cry of a newborn cub. Days gradually become weeks. The once fragile cubs grow stronger and more adventurous, exploring every corner of their hidden nursery with endless curiosity. Nursing several rapidly developing cubs requires an extraordinary amount of energy. A tigress may consume several kilograms of meat each day, simply to produce enough milk to nourish her family. Soon, she must leave the safety of the den and return to the hunt. Somewhere beyond the tall summer grass, the valley's next lesson in survival is about to begin. As the earth slowly tilts toward the sun, the Serengeti sheds the heavy cloak of night. Darkness retreats across the endless plains, replaced by the first golden light of a new day. But dawn here is far more than a sunrise. It is a biological trigger, a precise signal that resets the survival clock of millions. For the grazers, dawn brings a brief illusion of safety. But on the Serengeti, every ray of light reveals opportunity and danger. Guided by an instinct older than memory itself, an expectant female zebra quietly separates from the protection of the herd. She quietly leaves the herd, disappearing into the brush. Her body enters the final stage of labor as the first contractions begin. Giving birth alone is the Savannah's greatest gamble. The scent of amniotic fluid drifts on the morning breeze, silently announcing the birth to predators long before it can be seen. The scent of amniotic fluid drifts on the morning breeze, silently announcing the birth to predators long before it can be seen. Moments later, the foal enters the world. Without hesitation, the mother moves to her foal. Every action is immediate and instinctive. She carefully licks and gently pulls at the tissue surrounding its face, clearing the membrane away from the nostrils and mouth. Within moments, the foal takes its first full breaths, drawing fresh air into lungs that have never before been used. The foal soon begins another remarkable challenge. Its long, fragile legs tremble beneath its weight as it struggles upward for the first time. Gravity aids the process. As the foal struggles to stand, the fluid-soaked membrane stretches and tears away, freeing its legs for movement. Her tongue moves repeatedly across the foal's coat, cleaning away every remaining trace of birth. Each careful stroke helps erase the powerful scent left by the delivery, reducing the chemical trail that predators may already be following across the plains. As mother and foal gently nuzzle one another, an invisible bond begins to form. Standing between her foal and the world, the mother imprints her unique stripe pattern into its developing brain. Within minutes of birth, the foal begins memorizing this living barcode, ensuring they can always recognize one another within the herd. Its first steps are uncertain. The legs shake, balance comes and goes. Yet the foal improves rapidly. Unlike many mammals, zebras are born highly developed. Every unsteady step strengthens its muscles, coordination, and balance, preparing it to run within hours. The mother sets a careful pace, guiding her foal from the brush toward the herd. Among hundreds of watchful eyes, the newborn has its best chance of survival. But the wind has already changed. Far beyond the mother's awareness, another family responds. A pride of lionesses lifts their heads almost simultaneously. Their highly developed sense of smell isolates the fresh scent from countless others drifting through the morning air. Without seeing either the mare or her foal, they can already estimate both direction and distance. The hunt begins long before visual contact is ever made. The lead lioness explodes from cover. Powerful, fast-twitch muscles launch her from a standstill to nearly 60 kilometers per hour in only a few seconds. The zebras react instantly. Their sensitive hearing catches the attack before the predator closes the distance. Panic surges through the herd, and within moments, hundreds of animals burst into motion. For the newborn foal, survival depends on one thing: stay with its mother. Dozens of black and white bodies blur into a moving illusion. Known as motion dazzle, their stripes make it difficult for the lionesses to judge speed, distance, or isolate a target. The foal struggles to match the herd's relentless pace. Its legs are growing stronger. The chase drives the herd toward a fast-moving river. Behind them, the lionesses close in. Caught between two deadly threats, the zebras make the only choice that offers a chance of survival. They plunge into the river. The moment they enter the current, everything changes. Their greatest advantage, speed, disappears. Then, another predator awakens. Beneath the surface, Nile crocodiles detect the vibrations of the crossing through sensitive receptors in their jaws. Silently, they move toward the struggling herd. The zebras cannot stop. One by one, the zebras climb onto the far bank, exhausted, soaked, but alive. The Serengeti, a vast golden crucible where life exists at the very limits of biological endurance. As surface temperatures soar beyond 50 degrees Celsius, every trace of moisture disappears beneath the relentless sun. It becomes a silent contest of thermal economics, where every movement, every heartbeat, and every drop of energy can determine who lives and who dies. The dry season tightens its grip across the Serengeti. Endless plains of withered grass stretch toward the horizon beneath an unforgiving sky. As dawn breaks, the rising sun reveals a landscape scarred by heat and drought. The herds move quickly to feed while the morning still offers a brief window of relief. The grass is dry, brittle, and stripped of almost all its moisture. Yet hunger leaves no room for hesitation. Every bite provides just enough energy to survive another few hours. The Serengeti offers almost nowhere to hide. On this exposed landscape, a solitary hunter cannot rely on cover alone. She must disappear into the environment itself. A leopard emerges from the dry brush. She has not eaten for days. Every unsuccessful hunt has drained precious fat reserves, leaving little room for another mistake. Hunger has sharpened every instinct, but it has also increased the consequences of failure. One wasted sprint could cost more energy than her body can afford. She moves with extraordinary patience. Every step is measured. Every muscle remains under perfect control. Specialized pads beneath her paws absorb the impact of each step, allowing her to move almost silently across the brittle ground. Her spotted coat dissolves into the tangled vegetation, making her outline almost impossible to distinguish from the surrounding branches and shadows. But stealth alone is not enough. The leopard constantly samples the air. Hey, reveal which animals have recently passed through, how long ago they moved, and sometimes even whether one is injured or weakened. Before the chase ever begins, the hunt is already an exercise in gathering intelligence. Ahead, hundreds of zebras spread across the grassland. Their black and white stripes blend into a shifting wall of movement, making it difficult to isolate any single individual. To an inexperienced hunter, the herd appears full of opportunity. To the leopard, it presents a complex problem. She studies the center of the herd first. Healthy adults stand shoulder to shoulder, protected by both numbers and constant vigilance. Attacking such a tightly packed group would be an enormous gamble. One accurately placed kick is powerful enough to fracture ribs, crush a skull, or inflict injuries from which a lone predator may never recover. For the leopard, survival depends on avoiding unnecessary risks. After several moments of careful observation, she abandons the idea of attacking the center. It is not fear that changes her decision, but experience shaped by millions of years of evolution. Successful predators know that patience often secures more meals than reckless courage. She circles slowly toward another flank of the grazing herd, searching for an easier opportunity. Then, without warning, the wind changes direction. A faint stream of scent molecules drifts directly toward the zebras. Instantly, the balance begins to shift. The leopard instantly freezes. Finally, one cautious step, then another. The distance continues to shrink. She has crossed the threshold where hesitation is no longer an option. Instantly, the zebras react. The ambush begins. The leopard erupts from the grass with astonishing acceleration. Powerful, fast-twitch muscle fibers convert stored glycogen into explosive kinetic energy, launching her forward in a matter of seconds. The hunt transforms from perfect silence into overwhelming speed. The peaceful savannah explodes into chaos. The herd scatters across the plain, but its greatest defense is not simply running. But the leopard never takes her eyes off the chosen zebra. Every stride closes the gap. Instead of fleeing farther away, several adults wheel around and charge back toward the attacker. The leopard suddenly finds herself surrounded. Hooves strike the ground from every direction. Massive hind legs prepare to kick with tremendous force. Nature never wastes an opportunity. Every season, every sunrise, and every drop of water becomes part of an ancient system that has shaped life for millions of years. Hidden between towering cliffs, the Chulishman River Valley appears peaceful from above. But to a wildlife biologist, this valley tells a very different story. It is a living laboratory where every animal is constantly making decisions that determine one simple outcome: survival. Summer has arrived, bringing only a brief window of abundance. For a few short months, plants flourish, insects multiply, and fresh vegetation spreads across the valley floor. Scientists describe this period as the season of maximum biological productivity. During this time, animals must consume enough energy to prepare for the much harsher months ahead. Every successful meal today increases the chances of surviving tomorrow. In this harsh environment, wasting energy can be just as dangerous as facing a predator. In a desperate biomechanical reflex, the juvenile exploits the canine's anatomical limitation, a lack of arboreal adaptation. Giving birth is one of the most demanding moments in a tigress's life. Every contraction drains her strength, leaving her temporarily vulnerable in a wilderness. Then, the silence is broken by the soft cry of a newborn cub. Days gradually become weeks. The once fragile cubs grow stronger and more adventurous, exploring every corner of their hidden nursery with endless curiosity. Nursing several rapidly developing cubs requires an extraordinary amount of energy. A tigress may consume several kilograms of meat each day, simply to produce enough milk to nourish her family. Soon, she must leave the safety of the den and return to the hunt. Somewhere beyond the tall summer grass, the valley's next lesson in survival is about to begin.